So this is pretty stunning news. An entire federal political party's caucus is now in COVID-19 self-isolation. The Bloc Quebecois leader Yves-Francois and his entire caucus have entered self-isolation after an employee in Blanchet's office tested positive for COVID-19. This comes as the daily COVID-19 case count spiked in Ontario today, over 300. That's the largest count since June the 5th. And now, is the second wave finally crashing down on Canada, as the Premier of Ontario said today? And should the reopenings be, halted, scaled back? The press gallery's back. Toronto Star's Tonda McCharles is in Ottawa. Ian Bailey at the Globe is in Vancouver. Our special guest is Dr. Abdou Sharkawi. Just let me start with you, Doc. Premier Ford said a second wave is inevitable. What do you make of that? Is this spike, are the spikes about to get bigger?
Well, it's certainly very sobering. And when we look at the trends that have evolved, especially over the last 2 weeks, it's now cases featuring possible.
Dr. Sharkawi, hang on a second. We're having a little audio issues with Dr. Sharkawi. Sorry, Doc. Let me just try to effort to fix that, and I'm going to go to Tonda McCharles because Tonda, and we'll fix Dr. Sharkawi's audio because we can't hear him very well. Tonda, the news, by the way, as the Liberals are trying to set out their agenda about the Bloc Quebecois is fascinating. Is there any way that they could vote on the speech from the throne virtually? What do you make of this, Tonda?
Yes, there are ways to vote virtually. Dominic LeBlanc said just moments after, I think he was on your show, that in fact, they've had the ability to vote. It's just, right now they can do it by Zoom call. They could do it by an electronic application, but the application hasn't been tested to the opposition party's satisfaction. But there are ways to vote, so they can do it. But I think what this shows now, that entire caucus is going to be in self-isolation through the reading of the throne speech and the first confidence vote, and they're going to have to vote electronically, right? Whether that's by video conference or on an app on their smartphone, given a certain amount of time to register the vote, it can be done. The House administration has shown MPs that it can be done. But the Conservatives don't want any part of it already. We've heard that, and so But now they may not have any choice. And just to the earlier point before you break, Evan, when you asked about what the provinces want in terms of dealing now with a possible second wave and what Mr. Ford was saying, the fact is the provinces have unanimously laid out a demand to the federal government to increase the amount of health transfers to provinces. Right now it goes up by 3% a year. They want it to go up by just over 5% a year. That's their unanimous demand and what they want to do on the pandemic. Will the Liberals embark on other efforts like pharmacare? Or we'll see. Trudeau's agreed to a high-stakes meeting with the First Ministers on healthcare amid a pandemic. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and that Jagmeet Singh told me on Sunday that he wants universal pharmacare. Let's go back to Dr. Sharkawi. You can save people's lives, and we can fix some audio. Okay, are we in for a second wave, Doc?
Yeah, I think that it's a very real question. And to be quite honest, I wonder if it's one that we should be grappling with all that seriously and focusing more on what we can do at this point. The trends are certainly very alarming. They're very sobering when we see case counts as high as 313 in Ontario. And more impressively, that we're seeing people now being admitted to hospital, including the ICU, for the first time in several weeks. So this is a clear indication that community transmission is not well controlled, and it's an opportunity for us to remember what we did to successfully control the curve back in the spring, and to make sure we can revisit those lessons again and do what we're supposed to with school opening up and the specter of the flu season right around the corner. It's in our hands here, so we don't need to look ahead with doom and gloom. We need to do something about it.
Yeah. Wear a mask. Real quick, Ian Bailey, in BC too, there's concern. Some people are blaming young people on that, quote, feeling of invincibility. What are you hearing there?
Well, very much that seems to be where a lot of the concern is. We'll know here in British Columbia in about 10 minutes where things have gone. Last numbers showed that COVID cases were easing up in British Columbia, and the province has taken some new measures in certain areas, but nightclubs, bars, restaurants, to try and hold things back. But yeah, you're correct. I mean, the young people are being blamed for some of the rising numbers in this province. As I say, we'll have a clearer sense soon on where things are going.
I just got 10 seconds, Dr. Sharkawi, but it's not real quick. It's not the back to school to blame, is it?
No question about it. It takes several weeks for the trends to lead to higher case numbers. This was something that's been percolating for the last month at least, and it's related to us letting down our guard with respect to our habits. School's only been open for a few days, so we can't blame it on the schools. We've got to blame it on ourselves. Look in the mirror.